Hello, this is PlatinumArms with a review of the Kahr CM9. It's a 6+1 9mm pocket pistol. It comes with one steel mag, and if we check it, safety check it, you see nothing's in there. You can put your finger in there, feel there's nothing in there either. This is a very small, very thin 9mm. You can also get it in a 40 cal. It's also very lightweight. And for the CM, the 45 should be coming out soon. I'd imagine probably next year from this video date. But they're very small, very thin, very light pistols, great for a concealed carry. Okay, this is a pocket pistol. Anything bigger, I would not consider a pocket pistol. Now, you can put about any gun in your pocket, even like a full-size 1911, but this is what I consider an actual pocket pistol. And for 9mm, 40 and 45s, they're extremely small. Now, if we start going into construction of the pistol, I did notice right away that it is a high-quality pistol. It actually is built really well. And I do like that. I like all my pistols to be built well. It is very stiff though when you pull this out of the box. You do want to remember that. And what you can do is right away when you get it, you'll probably want to get that grease out of there. You want to take it down, get all the grease out, and then you're actually gonna just take the mag out. You just rack it a bunch of times. Just keep racking all the way back if you can. And then you can also, I put the mag in there a couple times because this is the way they suggest to load around, is have your slide locked back. You put a full mag in there, then you drop the slide release like that. The reason they suggest that versus slingshotting is because it's so tight, a lot of people can't pull the slide back all the way. So when they release it, it fails to chamber the round because you're not pulling the slide back all the way. So that's why they say to do it that way. It is stainless bar steel, this pistol too. Okay, so what that means, this is one solid chunk of steel. It was stainless steel, so was the barrel. It was not stamped together. I believe a lot of pistols now are bar steel, but there's probably some that are still stamped. So that's really nice to have. It does also have a low bore axis. So that means that the barrel sits a little bit closer to your hand. It sits down real low. The way designed is so when you shoot it, it actually pulls back and up instead of just up really high, so it doesn't go up as high. Follow-up shots will be a little bit better with it. It also, I don't know if I said this, but it has a 3-inch barrel on it, but that's pretty nice. It's small and comes with a nice sized barrel for being so little. It does have polymer bar dot sights. If you look on that, I don't know if you can see it, but you just line that dot on top of the bar just like that. And I didn't personally like them. I still don't like them a lot, to be honest with you, the bar dots, but they are great for quick follow-up shots. So if you get used to them, it is really neat. This is like a self-defense pistol. It's the way it's all designed. The bore axis being nice and low for your follow-up shots. Your quick acquire for follow-up shots with the bar dots being real thin and light. That's what his main purpose was, concealed carry. I think the 3 dots a little bit better for like long range myself. You can still do follow-up shots with them fine. I just think this is a little bit better for follow-up shots, but I still myself prefer the 3 dots too. It's what I'm used to. It does come with steel guide rod in there. So it's steel right in here, and also it does have a steel mag release. I really like that. You don't really see that in too many pistols in my opinion. I don't see too many have that steel mag release. The steel mag release, what that does is, you got it right here, if it's polymer, and you got polymer rubbing against steel, eventually supposedly it'll wear out. And I don't know what'll happen when it wear out, but something will wear out. Maybe your mag won't drop, maybe it won't stay in. But when you have steel on steel, it's going to hold up really well. It's going to hold up a lot longer. So I like the steel mag release. I haven't had a problem with any guns with that problem that have polymer mag releases, but it's still neat to have. Slide release is steel. That's pretty common. A lot of times you find that. The trigger steel too. And the trigger about this gun, we'll jump into that real quick. The trigger on this gun is a little bit long trigger. Almost all pocket pistols have that long trigger. It's like a safety feature, but the thing about it is it's very smooth. You won't find a striker fired pistol with as smooth trigger as this. It's insane how smooth it is. Now, drawbacks to it is if we pull it back, it breaks all the way back. Now the reset is the only flaw to this trigger. If you look, resets right there. Basically you got to pull the trigger all the way out. There's not really much. Basically you're pulling it 100, maybe 90% back to where you started. It's kind of bad, I think. The reset is way too long on this gun. Now, the trigger pull being long, I don't mind that, especially if you're carrying it in your pocket. And with how smooth it is, to me that doesn't matter either. It's about 6 to 7 pounds, so it just feels great because of the way they designed it. They use like a cocking cam. And the cocking cam, I think, is one of the reasons it's got that smooth trigger. It's also supposed to be safer. I believe It helps with your firing pin block, so it releases firing pin block really smoothly, and also releases it at the last second, so that way it's a little bit safer. It's supposed to be, I believe, I'm not 100% sure, I'm pretty sure that's what the cocking cam does on it. And it does have something really neat about it that I like a lot, is a self-cleaning extractor. The self-cleaning extractor only pivots one way, and what it does is you're supposed to have it's supposed to be impossible to have failure extractor. It's kind of neat, because most of the time extractor will pivot both ways, and sometimes you have failure extractor. This is supposed to be impossible. I've never had a failure extract with this pistol at all. So, and either I had a CW40 too, no problems with it extracting. So that's a really neat feature, I think. Now, if we go down to the takedown of this pistol, it's not really that hard. You have a dot here, you got a line here, you line them up, and you push out this slide release. So if we line them up, about right there, pop it out, pull this thing out, and there you go. And now if we look at it, there's almost no moving parts at all in here. It's so few moving parts, less than a Glock, less than M&P, less than probably just about any pistol out there. That adds to reliability. This gun is very reliable, and that's probably one of the reasons. They also use a really tight tolerances, and actually at first, this little right here, this is not your rail. Some people think that's your rail. That's like a guide for your rails. This is your rail here. This is like a standard one. These are your front rails. They're huge. That's really nice. You don't see, usually with gun you're going to see small rails like this in the front, in the back, small rails like that in the front. So that's really neat, I think. There's a little indent here. That's how when they, I guess when they hold it, when they machine the frame and everything, that's where the machine grabs it. So that's normally not, the chunk out of your rail is actually how it's supposed to be. But very few moving parts. It's a neat design. It does have a double recoil spring too. And this thing is really tough. These springs, what I've heard, are actually wolf springs. That's one reason it's so tight too, is how tight these springs are. And you're supposed to have wolf springs in the magazine too, okay? So really high quality springs, good steel, nice guide rod. They say you're supposed to just change this out every 12 to 1500 rounds. With most small guns, you're going to want to do that. If we pull out the barrel on this, look at the polish on it. It's probably a little dirty still, but didn't clean up too much. That's how it comes from the factory. I don't know why you can see it on camera. This thing is polished to mirror. That's really nice too. And it's a little bit sideways, but that's partially due to the cocking cam getting in there, I believe. That's how I do it sideways, but it's a nice polish on that feed ramp. You put it back together. It is a little tough to get that spring in there, to be honest with you, especially when it's new. I mean, compared to all the other guns, well, that wasn't too bad really, but probably because mine's broken in, but other guns, recoil springs go in a breeze. Now, putting this back together, just slide this on this little, on the guide rails, whatever, but this spring right here, you want to be really careful. My brother on my CW40 bent this spring, put it back together somehow. I don't know how he did. I heard about people doing that with it, and I always thought, man, what an idiot. How can someone mess that up? Well, I guess it happens. Maybe when you let someone else play with your gun, that's what happens. But you know, it was my own brother, so you kind of trust your fan a little bit. But anyways, he bent that spring, and every time I shot it, it locked back after each round. And I thought I bent the spring back, it still locked back. And ended up sending it in to get another one, but it just, I don't know. Mainly, just be careful of the spring, okay? They suggest putting it, I think, at the 4 o'clock is what they say in the manual. I bring this back, I put it in there just lightly, sit here, and then I pull it back some. When you pull it back some, it'll drop the rest of the way. And then I leave it at the 4 o'clock, and then you just line these 2 dots up, and then you drop it right in that hole, just like that. And then you safety check it. So it looks good, functioning well. Let's see what else. If we jump into safeties, this striker fire just like a Glock. There is no external safeties on this, nothing to get hung up. Great for, like I said, if you do pocket carry or whatever. You don't have to pocket carry anything like that, but it's still really nice. You don't have anything to get hung up on. It also has a firing pin block, and it has that cocking cam that's supposed to help out with safety. And it also, that's actually about it. Well, it's got, technically there's no official chamber indicator, but if you look right in here, you can see if there's a live round in there. So it kind of basically has a chamber indicator too, but not officially. So also long trigger. So you got a couple things. You got like a Glock, it's under striker fired, so when you cock it back, half tension. You've seen in my other videos. If it did go off somehow and did hit the primer, it wouldn't be hard enough, but you also got the firing pin block too, so it's kind of hard to make this pistol fire an accident, being dropped, thrown, whatever, because if it does go off, it's going to hit your firing pin block, which it shouldn't go off to general, but if the striker did go off somehow, it's going to hit your firing block. If the firing pin wasn't there, it wouldn't strike the prior hard enough to ignite. So that's good. Like I said, no manual safeties. I like that. Other people might not, but you don't really need it when you have the internal safeties like that, in my opinion. There's also no mag safety. I love that too. You've probably seen my other videos. I'd always be worried in a panic situation. You hit your mag release by accident like that. At least when you pull the trigger, you get one shot. One shot's better than 0 shots. Especially if you're in a high stress, like not knowing what's going on. You can always tap, rack, and bang. Now, if we jump into like the PM series, the main differences with this gun compared to like a PM9 or PM40s or PM45s, if they come out the CM45 later on watching this video, they have standard rifling. Almost all pistols do have standard rifling, but the PM has a polygonal rifling. Polygonal rifling is supposed to be a little bit harder to clean, but it's supposed to get you, it's supposed to be more accurate, and it's also supposed to get, I think, higher velocity out of your bullets, so you get a little bit more power behind it. But this is a 3-inch barrel, so I don't think it's really that important in a 3-inch barrel, to be honest. Maybe like a 4 or 5-inch or 4.5, 4 1/4. But it's 3-inch, and this is more for like up close and personal. Now there's somebody who thinks shooting a PM9, it might have been the CM9 at like 100 yards, 75 yards, and he was hitting everything. So you can shoot long range with this. Most pistols have standard rifling, but the PM's got the polygon. It's kind of neat to have, but it's about 250 bucks more for the gun. It does come with an extra mag too. This one only comes with one. You'll get this extended mag that in the 9 holds 7 instead of 6, and in the 40 it would hold 5 here, and it would hold 6 here. For the 45, I'm not sure off the top of my head, but when you put this in, if you got a bigger hand, you actually get a full grip too, which is kind of neat. I like for concealed carry, I like to get as small as possible, but I also got little hands. I can kind of squeeze my finger on there a little bit. But if you have medium hands or whatever, larger ones, this probably feel a lot better. This bigger one, but I got, actually, when I bought this gun, they had a little contest going on where if you bought a car, any kind of car, you get the extended mag. So if you got like a CW, you get an 8-round mag. If you got a CM, you'd get a 7-round mag. So that's how I got this mag. She got it for free. I did pick up another mag for this. In my gun store, it's about $34 plus tax for one of these mags, which isn't bad. I think Kahr selling them for 40 bucks plus probably shipping and whatnot. But they're still expensive magazines. Another thing is if you get the PM, you get a rolled finished on here. It just looks nicer. That doesn't affect anything really. I mean, this looks a little bit nicer, like laser etched and everything. It looks, and it's just rolled over here. It looks a lot better. But this one doesn't look bad. This looks like kind of like a normal pistol in my opinion. And you can just polish it up real nice. And what other feature? It's got a, this has a mold injected slide release. The PM one's got a CNC machine slide release. It's supposed to be a little bit tougher, but this one I believe is fine. I don't think they're having any problems with it or anything. It seems to be working great. I mean, you could probably buy one for, I bet you could buy a PM slide release. I think it's on a website, 15 bucks, maybe 10 bucks, and you could just put it in here if you wanted a CNC machine one. Just order it for the PM. Size, I told you this is really small, thin, light. Now to tell you what it actually is though. It actually is 4 inches high. So that's very small, which means not a lot of printing. That's great. Another thing is it's 0.9 of an inch thick. So it's real thin, so it doesn't actually bulge out on you when you're wearing it in a holster, and also it's nice and comfortable because it's so thin. And I also think the thinner the gun, it feels more comfortable in your hand itself. Weight, 14 ounces. Now compared to like the 380s, it's a little bit heavier. Usually 380s we don't weigh 10, 11, 12 ounces. This weighs 14. When you put the mag weighs 1.9 ounce. And most pistols don't tell you how much the mag weighs, so it's kind of neat. At least so you look on the Kahr website, tell you how much the mags weigh. Most guns give you the weight without a mag in it. And 14 ounces is light. That is pretty light, especially for 9mm and 40. They're almost, if you had a 380, see my other video, my bodyguard video I did before, they're almost exactly the same size. This is a little tad bigger, and it's also a tad thicker. But this is a 9mm, you can also get it in a 40. This is 0.9 of an inch, a 40 is 0.94, and I think the 45 is 1.01 inch thick. Now the pocket pistols I think are like 0.75, maybe 0.8. So this is a very small gun. Technically the 380 is just a little bit smaller, but not much. But you're gonna get a 9 or a 40 instead of a 380. That's a big difference. They got a lot more stopping power in my opinion. The radio will do the job, but sometimes in the winter, people don't use full metal jackets because they're afraid of penetration, and it's only like usually like 2 3/4 inch barrel. This one, you know, 940 doesn't matter. You can use hollow points and whatnot. You don't have to worry about it in the winter, that thick coat, generally. I mean, some people maybe still do worry. I use hollow points all year round in my 9s, 40s, and whatever, 45s. Now, basically, sum this up. Also, too, I'm sorry, jump around. This is 5.3 inch in length. That's small too. That's going to mean it's really comfortable when you carry. Sometimes if it's long, it digs in a little bit. That's not that big a deal for me. Mostly I care about the height. That's the main thing. And then the width is important in the weight. The length doesn't bother me too much, but it is still, if that does mean something to you, that's nice. And also it's beveled here. I forgot to mention that for reholstering, which is nice. Sum this video up because this is taking a long time. This pistol is very small, very light, very thin. This thing is made for self-defense, really, and it's just great, comfortable gun for concealed carry. It's going to hide well, it's going to be comfortable. The only problem I have with this gun is that stupid spring, because my brother messed it up on my other gun, so it makes me a little worried. Unlike other guns like a Glock, there's not really much you can mess up. Now someone's going to probably comment on and say, oh, you can mess this up, this up. But in general, you know, just putting the slider release, somebody doesn't know what they're doing, just messed it all up. And I would think on a Glock you can't really mess it up too much, or the MMP and stuff like that. That's the only thing I don't like about it, to be honest. Other than that, I love the gun. Okay? I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, if you do buy this gun, rack the slide back a bunch of times, loosen it up before you shoot it. You want to really loosen this thing out, maybe about 300, 500 times, 200 times. But if you did like the video, please subscribe and to me and PlatinumArms channel, and check out my other videos. I got a bunch out there, so check them out, and there's always more coming.